Over here.
My name is Chala Alemo. I'm a student here. Thank you, Harvard, for being alive and a leader. And I want to thank three of you who served under different presidents, under Democrats and under Republican. It's really an asset to have you guys out here, and thank you, Harvard, again for inviting them here. I have a question for three of you, which is going to be similar questions. I sometimes wonder how democracy works around the world. As America, the leader of the world, everything we do out here affects every part of the world. And I know we talked everything about U.S. Now I'm going to take you a little bit out of the U.S. to perhaps the third world country, Africa, particularly the Horn of Africa. And Andy, my question to you, first of all, I want to appreciate under President Bush, in 2005, I was in Oromia, the country currently called Ethiopia, when there was a bad situation in the country because of the election. Just in less than a minute, the U.S. Embassy came to our house and they grabbed a U.S. embassy, the U.S. citizen, took him out of to the airport and fly him over here. In 2015, when I went back to Ethiopia to see how my family are surviving, which I lost a genocide to this, which is still happening as I speak, I was arrested for 2 weeks and tortured out there by the Tigray government military, the minority that's ruling the country. Denis, my question to you is, how did democracy work, and why is it different from the Republican time? And my question to Chris is, under President Clinton, there was a genocide in Rwanda. Why? What is happening out there? And it was even quiet until it was over. President Clinton went and apologized for what happened. Now the Oromo Nation are under a genocide, government-sponsored genocide. The minority Tigray ethnic group, the 5 million, are killing 100 million people. It has been ignored. I'm not surprised about our president.
Okay, there's a lot to deal with there.
And Myanmar, the kind of country that even Obama visited, what kind of advice did you, Denis, give to the president, as we see your jobs are very important in presidents?
Good. So, like a very important set of questions around the president's decision to travel to Ethiopia. It was very controversial at the time. I just associate myself with the defense of the trip that the president himself made, and that Susan Rice and that Josh Earnest, our spokesman, made at the time of the trip. I will say that one of the things that is unique about the chief of staff, in addition to the title, is that the chief is the one person who knows what's on the plate of everybody else around the table. Everybody else around the table is focused on their plate, but it's your job to know what's on their plate and what needs to go to the president. And this is why, as Andy said and Mack has said, it's so important for the chief to make a decision as to what's ready to go to the president when, and what can wait. Because there's never going to be a White House staffer who has an issue that he or she thinks can wait. It always needs to be resolved immediately. But as to your specific question about the Ethiopia trip, is obviously very controversial, and I think we've stated a defense of the decision to travel, and I stand by it.
In terms of democracy, I think the United States should be a beacon for democracy, and unfortunately we have a democracy that most other democracies don't understand, and that's because ours is truly unique. We have separate but equal branches of government, so the Congress is not like a parliament. In most other democracies around the world, if the prime minister is in trouble, the parliament reacts and there could be a new election called. If a president is in trouble, we don't call a new election for Congress. So it's a different challenge because people schooled in democracy for most of the world are schooled in parliamentary forms of democracy, not our separate but equal three branches of government democracy. And I think that presents a challenge. But I just think the most important thing is the president can't solve every problem in the world. He can't even digest every problem in the world to begin to solve it. But it's important for the United States to be the beacon of hope, and I think that's the role of the president. Where we can't get engaged, because it may not rise to the level of national security interests that excludes some other national security concern, and those are the tough decisions the president makes. All of us have witnessed presidents in agony over what was happening someplace in the world, and they were not able to do something about it.
Let's see if we can take another.